Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was directed by Sam Raimi and it stars Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. And this movie takes place after the events of Spider-Man No Way Home. So in this movie, Doctor Strange encounters a young teenage girl named America Chavez who has these powers to travel and walk through other worlds and also the multiverse and other universes. But then the big problem is that evil forces are after her powers, and now Doctor Strange is going now Doctor Strange has to go up to Scarlet Witch to Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch, for help, and now we got our movie. I gotta say that I've been looking forward to this movie like everyone else, because all week this week I have been really cannot stop thinking about this movie, and I was like, yo, I'm so looking forward to this. But then I did see this movie, and I gotta say, I freaking loved it. But there's some mixed feelings I have with the movie. I mean, there'll be some things that I like and some things I might not like. But then I think that's it. But one of the most interesting things that this movie, from what I heard, when I heard that Sam Raimi was directing this movie, I was like, where's the actual director who directed the first movie? Maybe he kind of stepped off to do another movie project. I mean, I understand, but I guess they had Sam Raimi direct this movie, and Sam Raimi, I mean, I haven't seen Sam Raimi's movies in a while, since Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man movies in the past when I was a little kid. But then when he directed this movie, from what I heard, is going to be the first Marvel movie in the MCU to be a horror, scary movie. And is the movie any like a horror movie? Well, a little, but there's some horror stuff here and there, and that's it. But I'm gonna say I did love this movie. But then I'm gonna say this movie's not just a sequel to the first Doctor Strange movie that we saw in 2016. This movie is sort of like a follow-up sequel to both WandaVision and Spider-Man No Way Home. But yeah, kind of like that. So, I think that's it. And then one of my thoughts on the movie, that I enjoyed it, but there's some stuff that I'm just a little bit iffy about the movie, and that's all I know. So, let's talk about the actors and the characters. So let's start off with Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, and yeah, he finally returns for his sequel after the events of Spider-Man No Way Home. During the events of Spider-Man No Way Home, he discovers about this multiverse stuff. And then now in this movie, now he knows about the multiverse. But then when he meets America Chavez for the first time, him and America Chavez travel through worlds, universes, and the multiverse. And then also he's trying to do the best he can to protect her. Is trying to do everything to protect America Chavez, which I meant to say, from these evil forces from taking her powers. And now because Benedict Cumberbatch is really good in this movie as Dr. Stephen Strange, and like I'm gonna say he's a 10 out of 10. He's a 10 out of 10 actor playing Dr. Stephen Strange. No one can play Doctor Strange more than Benedict Cumberbatch. But I'm actually surprised that Benedict Cumberbatch is really good in this movie, and that's all I'm going to say for him. And next up, the one I'm actually looking forward to the most, 100% the most, is Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch. She's played by Elizabeth Olsen. Now, Elizabeth Olsen did return back from the event of WandaVision, and now she's back. And I don't want to. If you haven't seen WandaVision, I won't say a word. But I gotta say that now her story arc in this movie, by the time you see this movie, you will learn about her story arc of what people that she wants. But if you haven't seen or have seen WandaVision, or you haven't seen WandaVision in a while, but with me, I haven't seen WandaVision in a minute. And it's great to see Elizabeth Olsen once again as Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch. And yeah, there's some jump scares that she like just busts out of, and her jump scares scenes in the movie are really cool. And like she does have jump scares here and there, and that's it. But and I think that's it for Elizabeth Olsen, and she was really good in this movie. And yeah, she's really good. And next up is America Chavez, who's played by none other than what's that girl's name? Xochitl Gomez, here we have Sochi Gomez, who plays America Chavez. And America Chavez in this movie, she did let me down a little bit. She didn't have that much time to shine. But then I'm like, well, is she going to shine? No, she didn't shine that much. I guess she didn't have that much time to shine. But then she does have powers. She does have these powers. But I do not want to talk about the powers because that's actually I don't want to talk about her powers. The only thing I'm gonna tell you is she travels through the multiverse. She walks through every other worlds and universes. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Because her powers weren't really shown in the trailers, which that really sucked. I guess they wanted to save that for the movie. And I'm like, what? Like, really? Come on. But yeah, that's my biggest problems I had with this character. Well, it's not the character's fault. Tell you the truth, it's not her fault. It's not her fault. But I'm just saying. But with America Chavez, and speaking of America Chavez, I do have her as a Marvel Legends figure, though, which I did review. And that's it. That's what I'm going to say for America Chavez, played by Xochitl Gomez. And Xochitl Gomez, hopefully we will see more of her in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as America Chavez. It's too soon to tell we'll see it's too soon to tell we could see America Chavez in the MCU in the near future. Let's just see what happens. And that's it for Xochitl Gomez. And next up is Christine Palmer, or Dr. Christine Palmer, who's played by Rachel McAdams, who actually reprised her role from the first Doctor Strange movie. And it's great to see her again. The thing is, she is in the movie, but then afterwards we don't really see her that much, but then afterwards we do see her and that's it. But then with Rachel McAdams coming back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'm like, what took her so long to be back in the MCU after the events of the first Doctor Strange movie? I guess they wanted to save her for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is my understanding. Or unless I'm like, yeah, Christine Palmer, what you been up to during your absence in the MCU? Yeah, what's she been up to? I don't know, but all I'm gonna say is it's great to see Rachel McAdams back as this character, and that's it. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna say for Rachel McAdams as Dr. Christine Palmer. And last but not least, I'm sorry, scratch that. Here is Benedict Wong as Wong. Now it's great to see Wong once again. Well, we've been seeing Wong for like a minute now. We did see Wong most likely in the first Doctor Strange movie, Avengers: Infinity War, Endgame. We did see him in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and Spider-Man: No Way Home. And yeah, it's great to see him back in this movie. So yeah, he's helping. Basically, all I know is that he's trying to help Doctor Strange protect America Chavez, and that's all I know for right now. That's the only thing I know for right now, because Benedict Wong as Wong is really good in this movie, and that's all I'm gonna say. Benedict Wong's really good. And last but not, I hope I'm not missing anyone else, but last but not least is Chiwetel Ejiofor as Mordo, or Master Mordo, I shall say. Excuse me. Now, with Master Mordo in this movie, it took him a very long, I don't know what took so long. What's he been up to during the MCU? I don't know. But we do see him in the movie, but we do see him like a little bit later on in the movie, but he's not in the movie all that much. Well, actually, no, scratch that. We do see him for like probably at least 5 or 15, no, scratch that. I think we did see him, for me, I did see him probably at least 5 or probably at least 6 minutes during the movie and gone. And that's it. He's not in the movie anymore. I'm like, oh man, I want to see more of Mordo. I wanted to see more of Master Mordo, but he's in the movie, like I said. But I think he's only in the movie for at least 7 minutes and gone, and not in the movie anymore. And that kind of sucks for me. And I was like, oh man, I hope we do see more of him in the MCU. Are we going to see more of Mordo in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? I don't know. It's too soon to tell. But that's all I'm going to say for him. And I think Chiwetel Ejiofor is really good in this movie. And that's it for the actors and the characters. So everything I enjoy about this movie, everything in this movie, the visuals in this movie are freaking awesome. The visuals in the first movie felt like 10 out of 10 awesome. And now went from 10 out of 10 awesome to 15 out of 15 or 20 out of 20 awesome and brilliant. Like, seeing the multiverse stuff in this movie is freaking great. I love how Sam Raimi put some really cool visual CGI in this movie, because it felt more Because seeing the visuals in this movie felt more a little bit darker and colorful. Felt more like with the dark colors just getting in. And I gotta say that the visuals are really cool. Now, and what else I enjoy about this movie? Sam Raimi has put a lot of horror vibes and effort to this movie, but there's some horror stuff that's not in the movie too much. But I'm just like, oh man, I was waiting and waiting and waiting for the horror stuff to happen. So I was like, wait, where's the horror stuff? I'm waiting. And yeah. But then we did see some horror stuff. We did see some jump scares. Well, you might end up getting jump scares here and there, and jump scares again and again and again and again. And the jump scares, I love the jump scares, but I'm not really a jump scares fan myself. To tell you the truth, I am not really a jump scares person. I tried everything in my power to get used to jump scares, but there's some jump scares that can be like when jump scares like get quiet and then loud because you don't know what's gonna pop up or probably scare you out of your seat. Just saying. But then the jump scares, I'm still trying to get used to jump scares a little bit more, and that's all. All I'm gonna say is I tried to get used to jump scares, but then there's some jump scares I'm just like, okay, this is not good. Things are getting quiet, and then bam, scares the life out of you. I mean, it's the truth. That's part of the jump scares. But then, yeah, I'm still trying to get used to jump scares, though. But what else I enjoy about this movie is the horror. The horror in this movie, the movie felt more brutal than Spider-Man No Way Home. No Way Home didn't felt that much brutal-ish, but Spider-Man No Way Home felt more darker. But it's because to me, because what I said, I was like, you know what, Spider-Man No Way Home went from lightness to darkness. With this movie, I'm going to say it went from dark to darker into a lot more darker, and that's it. And well, I'm gonna say not a lot more darker, but way more darker. But the horror stuff in this movie felt more cool. I love the jump scares from what the horror is trying to do. Sam Raimi did a really good job with a bunch of horror jump scares and stuff popping out, and that's really awesome. And from what Sam Raimi, from what I saw and a little bit heard about, that he directed horror movies before, probably like the Evil Dead films that he did. And he did really good with those movies, but with this movie in particular, he did a really good job with the horror stuff in this movie. And what else I enjoy about the action sequences in this movie are really, really good. I love the action sequences, but there are a couple of fight scenes that just only last for at least a couple of minutes, and that's it. And I'm like, oh man, I wanted to see more. But then the final battle in this movie is fine. I'm just not a huge fan of the final battle or the final fight, whatever you want to call it. The final battle or the final fight, I'm just not a huge fan. It didn't really make me impressed. I just wish the final fight could have been better. Like, I want to see a little bit more of the fight, and that's it. But I did love the beginning of the movie fight, and that's it. But then but even the final, there are a couple of fight scenes I'm just not a huge fan of, and the final battle it's not the final battle's fault. It's just, I understand, the final battle just could have been held better. And that's all and that's probably like it. And everything else about this movie, the story, the plot is really interesting, but everything else about this movie is, I think that's it, because the movie is not just about this movie's not just about this movie's not just about horror. It's about the travel through the multiverse. And there are a couple of cameos that I do not want to tell you. I'm not going to talk about the cameos. No cameos. Well, scratch that. I'm not going to talk about the cameos. You have to check the movie out yourself. The cameos in the movie, there are a couple of cameos here and there, and a couple impressed me, and some of them just like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And the cameos were fine. I'm just not a huge fan. I was like, oh man, that's it. Oh well. That's all I'm gonna say. So I guess that's it. And I think this movie was actually really good. And that's all I'm gonna say for this movie review for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Whatever you do, go see this movie, or probably watch, if you do have Disney Plus. Whenever you get a chance, please watch WandaVision before you watch Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, because of the whole Scarlet Witch and Wanda Maximoff story arc. I didn't want to tell you because if you haven't even seen WandaVision, you might as well probably watch it whenever you get a chance. Or if you don't have Disney Plus, I understand. But I guess that's it for this movie review for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and there's nothing much to say, and I think that's about it. So be sure to like, subscribe, press the notification button, follow me on Instagram, comment down below, and I'll see you on my next video. Thank you for watching.